What is up, boyos? We are back for more Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. Don't know why that wasn't that hype, but it's probably because of the units they gave us for the heart-shaped chocolates for our Valentine's Day celebration this year. So, what is up, boyos? Alright, let's break this down a little bit. So, we have the new heart-shaped chocolates out on Global Dokkan Battle. So, let's take a little bit of a look at the news here. Alright, so we have the Baba's Shop heart-shaped chocolates for the 2024. So there's up to 8,000 that can be obtained. Alright, you get 1,000 from logging in the game between the 13th and the 14th, so you get automatically 1,000, and then 7,000 you get from doing missions. I don't know when we'll get that other 1,000, because I don't think I've got mine yet. I think I'm only still at 1,000 right now, but either way, we're supposed to get up to 8,000 of these chocolates, which, I mean, I guess that's kind of cool, but not really. Alright, so some of the missions we have for this are it's not showing us them, but the missions are in your daily missions, but you can get 1,000 a day, and they're relatively easy to do. It's like complete 5 stages, you get one, complete 3 stages, you get another, and complete a stage, and then do a training or something like that. But that's not the big thing we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what do you want to spend your chocolates on? What is worth in this batch here that you'd want to spend your chocolates on? Looking at it from just a quick glance, there's not a whole lot of value here. I know I was clipping around a little bit there, but there's not a lot of value. So first and foremost, we'll work our way up from the bottom instead of the top down, because the top is where we're going to hit most of the conversational points. So from the bottom up, one of these, grab it. If you have the extra chocolates at the end, grab this. Same with the meat, grab it. No question. Hercule statues, definitely do a grab on them. If you're low on Zenny, if not, don't worry about it. Elder Kai, again, if you have all 3 of these units and have no use for them right here, grab a Kai definitely first, because like I said, we're going to have up to 8,000, so you can grab all 3 of these. That's 3,600. And then this one's put us up to 4,600, so you can grab theoretically all 3 of these here, but which ones of these are actually worth it? Because you could theoretically buy everything here. I'm not going to add up all the numbers, I'll probably add them up and then put it on screen somewhere afterwards, but you could theoretically buy everything here, but what of these units are actually worth the value? So let's start at the bottom here with the Trunks, the one that I recommend definitely everybody get first. So we have the Super Saiyan Trunks Future. This is post-EZA, fully awoken. This man is a bond of Master Disciple category Key 3 130 when post-EZA. Greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn on his super, causes supreme damage and lowers the enemy's defense. So he makes himself stronger by 50%, but also lowers the enemy's defense by about 40%. So that's pretty solid for the most part. His passive skill gives himself 150% attack and defense at start of turn, plus additional attack and defense, and chance of performing a crit plus 25% with each attack performed. So he gets an additional 50% attack and defense, plus up to 50% chance to hit a crit. So again, fantastic. You'd want to build him more towards the additional side. And he gets Key plus 3 plus an additional 100% when there's an ally whose name includes future Gohan on the team, which if you have the new LR Gohan, or realistically any of the LR Gohan, or any of the Gohan's future, you could run him. So there you guys go. There is an additional 100% on top of the 150 plus the other 50 you had. Plus, you get an additional 6 key, which, I mean, the max key you can have is 12 anyway, but this guarantees you're going to hit a super every single turn. And performs a guaranteed crit when there's an Android or Future Saga category enemy. And he gets an additional attack of 100% when there's an enemy whose name includes Cell. So if you take in like him to any of the red zones with Cell in it, he's going to hit hard. And his defense is going to be pretty high too, because he has Cold Judgment, which gives him 25% defense as well. So relatively decent unit. Like I said, he's probably the number 1 on this batch, especially post-EZA. He links really, really well. 5 out of 7 with his LR counterpart, and then 7 out of 7 with the Hybrid Saiyans version of the Trunks, which is the Movie Heroes one, which you could theoretically bring in on this team and he'll support him as well. And then if you have this Trunks that just got his EZA as well, they link 6 out of 7, which is actually pretty nice. Okay, so the next one would be Kaiowei. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. She's a Peppy Gallus category Key 3 and 130. Again, I mean, you're going to be able to get all 3 of these anyway if you play every day and just do your normal daily stuff on Dokkan, but in my opinion, she's probably number 2 you'd want to grab in the reverse order. Yes, Broly you want to save to the end, because honestly, in my opinion, you're not going to use that base form Broly really ever. I've never used him since he released. He's not that great. But greatly raises attack for 1 turn, causes supreme damage to enemy, and greatly lowers defense, attack and defense. So why I say she's a lot better than the Broly is because she gets Key 2 140 from her passive, as well as an additional 40% attack and defense performing a super. She has a high chance of stunning the attacked enemy, so you're most likely going to use her on like an SBR or something where you can actually get stuns off. She has a medium chance of getting an additional 2 key randomly, a medium chance of launching an additional super, which would raise that attack again greatly, and then she has a medium chance of evading enemy's attack, including supers. And if for some reason you do a super attack and then get an additional activated, her attacks become effective against all types when performing that super attack if the target enemy is in attack down status, or if they're sealed. And she performs a guaranteed crit when the target enemy is stunned. And her stats look pretty good across the board. Only problem is she only fits 3 categories. I mean, she's got relatively decent stats for being a non-Dokkan Fest unit, but the 3 teams she fits is Tournament Participants, Universal Saga, and Peppy Gals. But like I said again, the main thing you're probably going to use her on is her own leader skill, which would be Peppy Gals. And if you look at the Peppy Gals team, having this 21 as a leader, and as well as this Videl as a leader, you've got some pretty solid options for Peppy Gals now, especially with the Bulma being on the team, as well as both of the new 21s. So you could probably slide her in there if necessary. And then the final option, which is the Broly that I completely forgot he released in 22 because he was just that underwhelming realistically. He's a movie boss's key 3-130. He raises attack and defense for 1 turn. He gives himself 180 at start of turn for attack, plus an additional 80% attack and defense when performing a super. He disables enemy's guard with 2 or more key spheres obtained and launches an additional super with 6 or more key spheres obtained. Attacks effective against all types if the target enemy's HP or less when attacking, and the only real, I mean, he's not terrible like I said, but he's not great. He's not something you write home about. If you deliver the final blow, which you'll rarely ever do with this man because you're not going to use him enough, he'll be an off rotation unit. You'll get an additional 26% HP at the end of the turn. But stat-wise, I mean, he links almost perfect with himself, the AGL variation of himself, but again, this is not a unit that's in the meta now that you could run. So skip on that, and if you're going to run this Broly and you're on the global side, this would make a decent pairing, I guess, but he's lacking Super Saiyan, and this is again the same Broly, but they're lacking Super Saiyan on that Link skill, which, I mean, is kind of alright, but if you look at the rest of the roster, there isn't much there for you to run him with, and they don't honestly share many categories beyond the Dragon Ball Super Broly. This is just 2 categories or less, so I mean, he really only has 3 categories: Gifted Warriors, Pure Saiyans, and Movie Bosses, but his attack stat's high, his defense stat is low, and I don't even think he really has a 200% leader skill yet. No, he doesn't. He does not have a 200% team he fits on. So that kind of doesn't help him at all. Until JP comes out, he does have a 200% leader skill under that new Broly, but under this Broly, this game, as of global, he does not. So in the order of my recommendations, I'm going to go Trunks, Kaiowei, Broly, and then where is it? Yep, Trunks, Kaiowei, Broly. These 3 in that order. Grab him first, then her, then him again if you absolutely want to. And then you have the Kai, and then the Meat, and that Hourglass. But that's, I mean, realistically, that's all I could really say on this thing. There isn't a whole lot going on for global right now. We do have the Re-Brienne trio coming out here in a couple days, I think in like 6 or 7 days, but I mean, there's not a whole lot of hype coming out on global at the moment. We're just waiting to see what JP gets for part 2. That'll completely overshadow everything global's dropping. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time for more Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. See you guys then.